What's up, guys? This is the Osmo.com Night Shift Podcast. We're talking some MLB for Wednesday, August 15th. We got two slates, quick 4-gamer in the morning, then a 10-gamer at night, 14 games total. Get to Osmo.com, check out all of our premium content, and as well as our free content. We've got the Spotlight Hitters, Pitchers, and Stacks, written by myself and Josh Engelman, MLB strategy video with myself and Josh again. That is always live at about 9 Eastern, give or take a few minutes. We answer your questions. We have some really sharp chatters, and it's just a good conversation all around. So come join that. Then we've got the same sort of thing with the live stream. Chris and Josh will be on the live stream tomorrow. And then Osmo will be doing his lineup card article, just slate-specific advice on the slate, how he is approaching it. So a lot of good stuff today and to come. Check out the NFL packages. We're really excited for the NFL season. All right, let's get into this slate. Start with the early. Go quickly through. We've got Pittsburgh and Minnesota. Chris Archer going up against Jose Barrios. Archer, 8,600. Not a great matchup for him, but definitely some strikeouts to be had. With Sano in there, you've got Forsythe, Mitch Garver, Jake Cave, Adrianza there at the bottom. So I'm guessing Archer's going to be somewhat popular. He is an underdog here against Barrios, but only an 8 total for this game. I'm assuming both of these guys will be somewhat popular. If I was targeting against Archer with bats, it's going to be the same two I usually mention for the Twins, Rosario and Polanco, both cheap enough where I'm willing to take a shot on an early slate, especially if Archer's ownership is up there. I think he's a fine play, but does give up a lot of hard hits, and those two guys are pretty good hitters against righties. Barrios on the other side looks really good to me. He's run into a couple tough matchups as of late at Boston and at Cleveland in 2 out of his last 3, so kind of ignoring what he's done. As far as results go, I think he has a really good chance to miss bats here. At 10K, I don't think he's overpriced. I'm expecting him to rack up a lot of strikeouts. There are some righties in here as well. I'm seeing at least 4 for the Pirates. So all signs point to me wanting to play Jose Barrios on this slate and not really wanting to target against him. White Sox and Tigers, we've got Carlos Rodon going up against Jordan Zimmerman. So Rodon is 9,100, but looks good to me. Just had a solid start against Cleveland. I believe it went 8 innings and racked up a few strikeouts along the way. That's really tough to do against Cleveland, and so he could certainly do that again against Detroit. Although that $9,100 price tag is not great if I'm going to that price range and just going up to Barrios and getting the highest priced pitcher on the slate, and I think a better play. So probably no Carlos Rodon for me, but I want to target some of these Tigers hitters, specifically Nick Castellanos, Candelario, and Goodrum as well for a cheap Tigers mini stack, especially if Rodon's going to have some ownership. It's a lot about leveraging the field on these short slates when ownership is so concentrated. Zimmerman for 8K gets a really soft matchup. The White Sox are striking out more than any team over the last month by a wide margin. So it's not like they don't have power. It's not like they don't have some good hitters, but just a bunch that is just fanning all over the place. They're super cheap, so you can make the case to play Zimmerman. You can make the case to stack the White Sox. I'm more on the side of playing some White Sox hitters, specifically Palka, Abreu, and Avisel Garcia. I love that 3-4-5. I don't know if we'll see Matt Davidson for this game. Probably not, at least according to the projected lineup. And then Moncada's down there for 3,800. Even if he's in the 8 spot, he's going to have low ownership for a 4-game slate, and I think he has one of the better matchups. So just because he's in the 8 hole doesn't mean I won't play him. Brewers and Cubs, we've got Junior Guerra going up against Kyle Hendricks. Possibly some wind blowing out, possibly some rain concerns in this game, so one to keep an eye on. Guerra has been doing a really good job getting swings and misses as of late, but I don't think the Cubs are a good matchup for him. We've got Rizzo and Zobrist, Hayward, new GOAT David Bodie in the lineup. He's supposed to bat 5th for this game. Schwarber in there. Just a lot of landmines, I think, for Guerra. So he's nothing more than a contrarian GPP option, in my opinion, even for a short slate. Kyle Hendricks is 7,500 here. I never really know what to do with Hendricks. He looks really good sometimes when he's got his control. He is really tough to hit, really frustrating to stack against. I don't think I'm going to be stacking against him here, at least not heavily, depending on how many lineups I go with. But I do like Christian Yelich for 5,200. Always like him against righties, especially average ones like Kyle Hendricks. So that's where I want the majority of my my Milwaukee exposure to come from, and then probably going very light on Kyle Hendricks. Seattle and Oakland, last game of the main slate. Mike Leake going up against Brett Anderson. Leake is 6K. I'm not on him here. A 5 total for Oakland at home. That's pretty high when they play at their home stadium. And you can see why against Leake. I don't think he is any good. Gives up a lot of hard hits. And this is a really, really good spot for a few Oakland hitters. I think they might be my favorite stack of the early slate. They probably are. They're probably going to be the highest owned stack, I would think. But you can go with Matt Olson, Jed Lowry, two of my favorite plays on the slate. Matt Chapman and Chris Davis not far behind, so 2 through 5 is super, super easy for me to get to. And, yeah, I think Oakland is my favorite stack now that I'm talking through it a little bit. Brett Anderson, 4,500 here. Oh, man, he's got to be chalk. I would assume $4,500 favorite on a 4-game slate with Barrios, Archer, Rodon all priced up 8,500 to 10K. I don't know that you even need to go to Brett Anderson, especially if you're stacking Oakland. You could probably fit him in with Archer and Barrios or whatever. Barrios and Guerra or Hendricks, one of those guys in the Cubs game. But anyway, I think Anderson is a fine play. His chase rate looks awesome, especially over his last 3 starts. You've seen good results, and that's got to be, that's probably got a lot to do with it. Over 40% chase rate each of his last 3 starts. So I don't love him against Nelson Cruz. I don't love him against Mitch Haniger, but I will have some Brett Anderson on this slate. As long as he's not like 50% chalk or something, then you got to start thinking about going to the other side. But assuming his ownership is under control, I think he makes for a fine punt play on a 4-gamer. Boston and Philadelphia. First game of the main slate, Nate Eovaldi going up against Vince Velasquez. Eovaldi is 9,300, coming off a rough start against the Orioles, oddly enough, after just being dominant his first couple starts with the Red Sox. So that is baseball for you. This matchup against the Phillies is not perfect by any means, but there are some strikeouts, and he is a favorite. He's minus 140. I don't have an issue with Eovaldi, but I think I prefer even Wheeler for $1,500 more, as weird as that is to say. Eovaldi has looked good besides that last start, so again, no issue with him, but not a guy that I'm like jamming into my lineups. And I do like this spot for Carlos Santana for only 4K. Vince Velasquez for 6,900, not playing him here. I can't go against the Red Sox. He hasn't really looked all that great to me. Super volatile to start with, and then you throw in this Red Sox team in 90-degree weather with some wind blowing out, and it's just no chance that I get to Velasquez on this slate, especially when we got Bundy for less on the next game. So I like the Red Sox stack is what I'm trying to say. Mets and Orioles, Zach Wheeler against Dylan Bundy. Wheeler looks phenomenal to me. He's 10-8. That's going to look like an overprice. It probably is a little bit of an overprice. Baltimore has been better lately, but Wheeler has just dominated his last 3 opponents, and I expect another dominant performance here. The Mets are letting him go pretty deep as well. 104 and 108 pitches in his last 2 starts. He's gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 5 starts, and he's gone 7 or more in 4 of those 5. Just racking up strikeouts all over the place, swinging strikes, chases, everything that I look for in a pitcher. And the opponent, while they may not look good if you look at you may not look at like a great matchup if you look at Baltimore's last month or so. They started to hit a lot better, but I still think there are a ton of strikeouts in this lineup. So I like Wheeler. I'll play him for 10-8 here. Bundy for 6,500. Absolutely no issue going to Bundy here. I actually thought it was going to be David Hess. So now this slate becomes a little bit more fun with Bundy on it. He's always going to be able to strike out righties. Got exceptional swing and miss stuff when he's on. And he's going to get probably at least 5, maybe 6 righties. He's at home. It is 90 degrees. He's certainly boomer bust, but this Mets matchup looks pretty soft when you look at the individual guys against Bundy. So I'm all over him for 6,500. Tampa Bay and New York, the Yankees. Jake Faria, it's Faria. Jake Faria going up against Luis Cessa. I'm not playing either of these guys, and honestly, I don't really love the bats here. Obviously, if I'm going to the bats, it's the Yankees. I'm going to Stanton and Hicks. I'm sure Josh will have like 90% Stanton when we talk on the MLB strategy video. But, Torres is pretty cheap, and a lot of these guys are under 5K. Not the best Yankees lineup, and I do respect Faria, but if I'm going to a stack, it's to them, not going up against the Rays. I'm not going up against the Yankees bullpen, so probably no Rays for me here. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Shane Bieber going up against Robert Stevenson. Bieber is 8,300, coming off that really good start against the White Sox. And I'm going to pull up his numbers really quick so I can reference what he did. I know he had really nice results. Let's see. 6 2/3, 8 strikeouts. When I looked at his swinging strike rate, it was awesome. He was getting ahead of hitters. 18% swinging strike rate, well above average swing rate. So really awesome start for Bieber. I think he is going to be capable of those in matchups that are favorable. This one I don't think is that favorable. So I'm guessing he gets some steam because of that start and because he's only 8,300 and a big favorite. But I actually like some Reds bats at first look. Votto, Jeanette, Eugenio Suarez. These guys are all priced pretty nicely. Even Mason Williams for 3,200 looks like a good hitter. You can take up Tucker Barnhart, take up that catcher spot for 3,500. So I think the Reds are going to be one of my sneaky stacks of the day. I hope nobody's on them and they're on Bieber. That'd be a fun leverage play because Bieber does struggle with hard hits despite how good he has been in certain starts. Stevenson on the other side, looking at his numbers from last year, looks pretty terrible, especially against lefties, and you just can't be bad against lefties and go up against Cleveland and expect any sort of success. So Great American Ballpark, stacking up Cleveland for the 3rd straight day. That'll be pretty popular. I don't think we need to touch on them too much. They're a spectacular stack. Miami and Atlanta. Jose Urena going up against Kevin Gausman. Not interested in Urena. The Braves look like a really tough team to me, especially as of late. They're super priced up here, so maybe not very high ownership for Atlanta, but a 5.2 run total. And then I love power lefties against Urena and speed. So you got Acuna, Albies off the top. There's speed there. Ender Inciarte in the 6th spot. Tyler Flowers for only 3,400. I don't mind him righty-righty. So, and then you get into that Marlins bullpen if they get Urena out early. So I love the Braves stack. This is one of those pay up to be contrarian spots, I would think. I doubt we see massive ownership on Acuna for 5,700, Freeman for 51. Certainly people won't play Markakis for 5,200, but when I'm paying down at pitcher, I'll end up on quite a bit of Braves stacks. Kevin Gausman for 8,700. I like him a lot here. It's hard not to, coming off his solid start. That's what they got him for. Went 8 innings, struck out 8. The plate discipline numbers weren't awesome, but they were good enough. I mean, he was getting ahead of hitters, got some chases. It was Milwaukee. This is obviously Miami. This is one of the softer matchups in the entire MLB. And oh no, Trevor Bauer, wow. Diagnosed with a stress fracture. Just seeing that news now, so that's one of my boys. That's too bad. Just got an alert to my phone. Hopefully he's all right, and we get to still watch him in the postseason and stuff. He's really fun to watch. So tough news there for Trevor Bauer. I don't know what that means for the rest of his season. Anyways, where were we at? Atlanta. Oh, Gausman. Yeah, I like Gausman here a ton. Marlins against righties are nothing spectacular. And if you look at the last month, they're striking out above league average, a 63 WRC plus against righties in that span, an ISO just over 100, 103. This team just lacks any sort of power, and no bore in there makes it even tougher to look at. So Gausman will be popular, but for good reason. Colorado and Houston, we have Tyler Anderson going up against Garrett Cole. Anderson and Cole, two guys I very much respect in that I don't love targeting bats against them. If I am going to bats in this game, it's probably Houston's side. Unless I'm going to Charlie Blackmon. So I like Blackmon for 4,400. Power lefties against Garrett Cole certainly have chances at success. The problem is Colorado really only has one that I like using, Charlie Blackmon. So that's about it for the Colorado side. As far as playing Cole, has not shown crazy upside like we saw earlier in the season, and you kind of need that for 12-2. So I think I'm going to be off of Cole here, just not seeing the type of plate discipline numbers that we saw in April and the start of May. So he's regressed quite a bit. Still, certainly a good pitcher, but not like he shouldn't be priced like where Verlander was priced on Tuesday's slate. So probably not much Cole for me. Probably not much Anderson for me, if any at all. And then Houston bats, I am kind of off. Maybe Carlos Correa, maybe Alex Bregman, because they are priced under 5K. But this game isn't really all that interesting for me all around. Washington and St. Louis, we have Jeremy Hellickson going up against Austin Gomber. So this one's pretty easy for me. It's the Nats onslaught. Hellickson is 6,500, and he's not a great pitcher really at all. But you look at just being able to limit the damage. He's got a good chase rate, 32.4% for the season. He's 6,500. He's going to get a lot of righties, giving up just 27% of hard contact total. That is a really, really good rate. And there's some rain here, which kind of sucks because I hope I get to use Hellickson. I never usually get excited about using him, but if Bundy's going to be the chalk at 6,500, I think Hellickson makes some sense. I mean, I like Bundy as much as the next guy, but if it's a big ownership disparity, then I think Hellickson makes for a nice pivot and a chance at 18 DK points. I think that's a pretty fair upside here for that price. So I'm not really on the St. Louis bats, and then I'm just jamming in the Nationals once again. You look at what they've done over the last month against lefties, and they're just hammering them. 127 WRC plus, 194 ISO, 364 on base percentage. They are striking out, but Gomber hasn't shown me that he can just go and mow a team down, so I don't expect him to do that here. It's going to be humid, so if the rain holds off, I'm seeing 85% humidity and wind out to left in 80-degree weather. So if there's no rain, or there may be a delay or whatever, I love the Nationals, and that weather just makes me love them more. Rendon and Turner, Zimmerman in there, and then I don't dislike the lefties. Harper, Soto, Daniel Murphy has shown a pulse as of late, and even Michael Taylor for 3,800. So love the Nats. Seems like I always love the Nats, but here we are once again. Toronto and Kansas City, Marco Estrada going up against Birch Smith. Estrada is 7,100, getting one of the best matchups that we have in all of the league. And his last start was super weird to me, just looking at the surface statistics. So I believe he gave up, he gave up 5 runs, 2 homers, struck out 6, walked 2 in 5 1/3. So, okay, that's a fine start if you're just looking at the numbers. Made a couple mistakes, obviously, with the 2 home runs, 5 earned runs. But you look at the swinging strikes, over 20%. You look at the first pitch strike rate, almost 74%. You look at the O swing rate, 45%. I don't know what is going on there. He was missing a ton of bats. He just made mistakes. And he's shown the ability to do this, like at parts in the season. He goes on stretches where all of a sudden he's posting mid-teens swinging strike rates, and when his changeup's working really well. I don't know how the Royals hit the changeup as a team for the season, but it's worth checking into. So that's going to be a project for me as the day goes on. And definitely some interest in Estrada for 7,100. Birch Smith on the other side, getting crushed by righties. I'm all over Grichuk, Teoscar Hernandez, Devin Travis, and really this Toronto stack as a whole. I love them against the KC bullpen. Smith is giving up a ton of hard contact to righties, a lot to lefties. Has shown some strikeout ability, but I don't expect him to do it here. And if you get past him, then you get Kansas City's bullpen, of course. So, love the Blue Jays once again. Angels and Padres. We have Felix Pena going up against Robbie Erlin. Pena, he's going to have every chance to use that slider that is very good in terms of whiffs per swing. And he's going to see probably 5, maybe 6 righties in this lineup for San Diego in a great park. Probably will get 15, 20, 25% ownership, and I think he should here. When you've got an out pitch that good, you should be able to get strikeouts against the Padres. So I like Pena once again. Have not seen the upside from him, but this could certainly be a ceiling start. Erlin for 4,900. Not much to say about this guy. He's 4,900. When you're under 5K as a favorite on a huge slate with not great pitching options, you're probably going to get ownership. I don't like him as a pitcher, but I understand the play with no Trout in the lineup. Just not a lot of great Angels hitters. I don't really want to use any Angels hitters, so I should consider Erlin, but I don't even know if you'll need to go that low unless you're paying up for Garrett Cole, which I am probably not doing. Last game of the night, San Francisco and LA. Derek Holland going up against Hyunjin Ryu. I don't know how to say it. He hasn't pitched in forever, since the start of May. So I can't go to Ryu, especially, he wasn't even getting over 90 pitches in most of his starts earlier in the year. I have no clue what he's done in his rehab starts. 3.4 run total for the Giants. Don't really want to play any Giants bats here. This one is kind of an avoid as far as Ryu against the Giants bats. Holland kind of been a guy I've been playing as of late, but 7,600 in LA against this team full of lefty mashers. And really, they have righty mashers too. They can just roll out a completely different lineup that's equally as good against righties. How can you not like Dozier and Turner and Machado and Kike, Matt Kemp, Puig? These guys are all $4,300 or cheaper. I think Derek Holland has been good, but there's no way I don't get a bunch of Dodgers exposure. He's still giving up over 40% hard contact to righties. So a team that looks this talented on paper is one that I will take a lot of shots at in tournaments, and I'm assuming they're going to have quite a bit of ownership, pretty decent run total, 4.7, and just that pricing is way too low, so bad job by DraftKings there. All right, that's going to do it for the slates. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Come hang out in the strategy video live stream with Josh and myself tomorrow morning. We'll be talking main slate. We'll be talking early slate. So come in with your questions or comments. Tell us how much you won on Tuesday night. And good luck. We will see you guys in the morning.